Om Sahna Vavtu Sahnau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Okay, Meena ji, you can go ahead and read. Then we didn't read verse 9. So basically, before we go, let's see what it is about. So the 8 was 7 and 8. It was talking about the inward journey, that how, from the senses, mind is more pervading and higher, and then the intellect is even higher, and then total mind, and then beyond that there is avyakta or prakriti, and then there is purusha or the consciousness. And then one who knows this becomes immortal and all that. We saw that. And then here, we'll read then. And we already went through what 9 is. And when we read, we will get the picture that none can hold it with your eyes. Here we are talking about all the sense organs. That's why it is a very subtle thing. But that doesn't mean we can't achieve it. It's the same idea over here. Like Krishna Bhagwan is saying, hey, you can get it. But it's not like a worldly thing that somebody can show you and get it. But what is the method? By controlling the mind, by the intellect and all that. Buddhi se pakarna usko, pure buddhi se, and then meditation. Then it will be revealed, because you have to transcend that mind, or transcend the buddhi in some ways. And then those who know Brahman become immortal. So that's where we are.
Okay. His form is not to be seen. No one beholds him with the eye. By controlling the mind, by the intellect, and incessant meditation, he is revealed. Those who know this Brahman become immortal. That the self is beyond the fields of the sense organs and the mind and the intellect has by now been very often repeated by the Shruti in different mantras. If none of these instruments of cognition, feeling, and understanding is available for the seeker in realizing the Supreme, the ill-informed aspirant is apt to feel despair and may throw up all his attempts to live the life divine, saying that the goal promised by the Shrutis is an impossibility. Hence, this mantra is explaining to us the last leap with which the seeker, during his meditations, crosses over the frontiers of his mind and intellect and reaches the land of truth.
So he's just telling you the final thing, and how do I know? By intuition. That's the best word that Swamiji has come across, and a lot of people relate to that word, that, the intuitively,
Okay. Nachakshusha pashyati. None can see him with the eyes. Here, the word eye is a representative word, upalakshana, which in its true meaning in the mantra indicates all the sense organs. The Upanishad is here clearly and pointedly making the daring statement that God will not present himself to his devotees for them to see him with their naked, limited sense organs of vision. All visions are delusory hallucinations of the mind. However satisfying and gloriously divine they may seem to be.
So he's just basically saying that you cannot know the God or see the God through your sense organs. And when it comes to tattvataha, now we can understand, a little bit more, combining this and what we learned in Bhagavad Gita. That's why you have to go beyond,
The only method by which a seeker can realize his self is through the faculty of intuition, which is now lying dormant in man's intellect. The intellect resides, according to the poetic Shruti, in the cave of the heart, and from its glorious seat of activities controls the workings of the mind. When the mind is silent, the intellect gains an inner peace. An intellect thus in complete peace dies itself away or disappears, leaving behind a newly born potency in us called intuition. It is with this intuition that a seeker comes to realize his self. Intuition is nothing but the capacity to know the knowledge, and knowing the self is but the self becoming aware of itself.
So Swamiji is trying very hard to define what intuition is. The capacity to know the knowledge and knowing the self is but the self knowing, a self becoming aware of itself. Okay, so there are so many powerful sentences he used. And when I was thinking about the intuition word in the general term also, it has a kind of a similar meaning. And it's something like this, that okay, there's a situation and I intuitively know what it is. And somebody asks me, explain it to me, I may not be able to explain. But somewhere deep in my heart, I know, right? So that's what it is. And even otherwise in the world, but they say, no, we all have an inner voice.
The sixth sense.
Sixth sense. And even if when we are doing something wrong, and we may not be admitting it, but somewhere in the core of our being, we know that we have hurt somebody, we have been wrong. I may not have the courage to, from the worldly perspective, to stand up to my own convictions and all that, but I know it. Even the thief knows when he's stealing or doing something bad, So that all that fits in here, intuition. So that pure awareness that we have, completely naked awareness, we all have it. But then they said we drown it out. That voice and that intuition, this world ruins it. You see, small child has it, because I have a baby, and now he slowly, as he's growing up, that thing is being a little bit I can see it. But when a baby, they know intuitively who loves them, who is a good guy, bad guy. They just know it, So that's what it is, that all of us have it.
For purposes of emphasis, Shruti is again repeating that the one who has, during his sojourn here, comes to rediscover himself to be nothing other than the pure consciousness residing in him as his own self, shall himself become immortal, and thus get away from the world of births and deaths.
So he's just saying, whatever is Manushyanam Sahastreshu, whatever we did, that okay, we have been sent here, and the sojourn means, a temporary stay, because you don't think that is permanent, because in Bhagavad Gita they have, gatasun, gatasunshcha, and our teacher used to translate it, either we are gone or we are going. There's no third kind over here, Chale gaye ya ja rahe hain, a temporary stay. If in this temporary stay we rediscover that we are nothing other than the pure consciousness, that's when the person becomes immortal. Not from the sharir, but he experiences that immortality, and then he gets away from this birth. Then he doesn't have to come, because he's finished his whatever lesson Bhagwan ne bheja tha hum log ko seekhne ke liye, wo hum seekh gaye. So he'll say, come back home now. You're done. Yeah.
And that's what it is. The knower of Brahman becomes Brahman.
Exactly. Yeah. So nice. Yeah. So, any question on this? Okay. So we can do the next one. Yeah. Anilji, you have a question or comment?
Well, I was just, what Meenaji just mentioned, knower of Brahman is Brahman. That is the same thing as self-realization.
Yes, it is.
That you are Brahman to begin with, but your vasanas have clouded all that. So once you remove all your vasanas, you can see Brahman inside you.
Yeah, then you realize, hey, this is, I am the same. And then those things, that's why the person nothing bothers that person.
Yeah.
That's why it is. Because even if you look at all the avatars, okay, we call them avatar, right? Krishna Bhagwan and Ram Bhagwan and all. You see Mahabharat or you see Lord Krishna. On one hand, वो बंसी बजा रहे थे, हंस रहे थे, but उनका life देखो, शुरू ही हुआ कितना वायलेंस से, उनके 7 भाई बहनों को मार दिया गया, माँ बाप को जेल में डाल दिया. I mean, how, if you see it from that perspective, oh my God, and then he was a baby and then Putna comes to kill him, and then some other constantly Rakshas are there. Then at very young age he had to leave his town, and he had to leave to do his karma yoga to other places and all that. Mathura he went, he never had to turn back and go back, and uske baad to one after the other problem. महाभारत में तो उनको पता नहीं क्या क्या सॉल्व करना पड़ा, and राम भगवान का देख लो, कितना difficult. Father died, शोक में, and then he had to go 14 years. पहले राजपाट मिलने वाला था, फिर he got exiled, and then वहाँ भी चैन से नहीं, राक्षस आए, ये आए वो. Oh my God, it's like a continuous churning, right? But the reason it's so important for us, because Ram Bhagwan took a human form to show us that throughout all these difficult, how to keep that equanimity. That here Krishna Bhagwan talks about in Bhagavad Gita, equanimity. We learned that chapter 2 or over here. So, that's what it is. Yeah.
Well, this way we get that what we are going through. I mean, that's the journey. They're just showing our journey.
Yep. Yeah. And also, I mean, they said, no, whenever you choose an example, you always choose an extreme example, then you feel like, okay, I can do this too. Because Krishna Bhagwan chose Arjun. Arjun's dilemma is as worst as it can be. The 2 people he loved the most, he has to kill them as his duty. And still he has to do it smilingly. Obviously, he's going to feel bad, but he's saying that in the bigger picture, this is what your karma is. You got to do it for the betterment of the society. And that's why he's saying, oneness he has to see. He has to do it for not for himself, but, for his country. So many different ways you can look at it, but you will always come to the same conclusion that, that's what it is, that through every difficulty, if we can learn to be equanimous, means we are going towards that, what we are.
Tell me then, in this situation, the love and attachment, is it true that he still loved, but the attachment he had to give up?
Exactly, that love, because, the true love is that person who is self-realized only can feel the true love. And what Swamiji gives an example is the best one I like, our Gurudev, Chinmayananji. He said, in our own body, we feel the oneness. If one part of the body, and he gives the example that we have talked about in this class, if your finger goes into your eye, you don't chop off your finger. The same finger goes and massages the eye.
Right.
So that's how that oneness comes in them. So Arjun very well knowing that, and the interesting thing is, the other 2 people that he killed, they also knew that they are on the wrong side, but they अपने कर्मों से कुछ बंधे हुए थे वो. Right? They were happy that Arjun was killing them. वो तो तैयार थे, means ऐसे दिखाने के लिए कर रहे होंगे कुछ भी, but inside they were jnanis too. So if you see the latest Mahabharata that has come, they have analyzed those things. That that in fact भीष्म पितामह ने तो उसको आशीर्वाद दिया था, विजयी भव, जाके अर्जुन को, और अपने उसको ने दुर्योधन को नहीं दिया था.
They were on Duryodhan's side because of attachment, isn't it?
No, because of this is what it is. When it comes to duty, it's not that simple.
Oh.
Okay? So what Krishna Bhagwan's take was that for the higher purpose, you give up your other lower duties, it's okay. Like उसने जो व्रत ले लिया था ना, मैंने तो ये प्रतिज्ञा ले ली. Hey, is your pratigya bigger than the woman's honor? No, but he just held on to his lower thing. So that's why he had to be killed. Attachment, actually, if you think about it, कि उसका attachment इनसे ज़्यादा था पांडवों से. But वो उसका ड्यूटी का डेफिनेशन थोड़ा डिफरेंट था. वो भी अपनी अपनी जगह ठीक होता है. So basically, what it is that when it comes to law of karma, it is not that simple. And in the end, Bhishma Pitama did get the moksha. In spite of, fighting against the wrong people, because his journey was so pious overall. But unka bank account was still very high, you know. So sometimes even Ravan got the moksha, they say. Or he had to take another 2-3 janmas. He has the whole story is there that he had to take birth 3 times and all that. But they were the pious people. But they did some wrong things and they had to. It's very complicated. But the whole idea is if you have your higher goals, then your lower thing Bhagwan takes care of. That's why he told Arjuna that if you surrender to me, मैं सारे पाप नष्ट कर दूंगा तुम्हारे. So that's what it is. That if your goal is higher, all the other things are taken care of then. You don't have to worry about small things.
But the doubts that do come when you find there's a duty and there is, this is, and you cannot fulfill, what is right and wrong, and yet there's a duty. At that point, still have doubts. What's to be done?
What's not? Yeah.
Be done? And, where does the line reside? Is there?
So the way I look at it, the more we study Vedanta and the more we align with that higher, your dilemma will start becoming clear. You start getting clearer picture. And if you go through the journey of Bhagavad Gita, in the beginning, Arjuna is totally confused, right? He said in chapter 2, beginning of chapter 2, I am confused. My mind it becomes small-minded. I am your shishya. Please teach me, right? फिर भगवान ने पूरा बताया. फिर चैप्टर 18 में वो बोला नष्टो मोहा, स्मृतिर लब्ध्वा and karishye vachanam tava. I'm gonna my moha is gone, means my delusion is gone. I see clearly everything and I'm gonna follow your whatever you say to the I'm gonna fight. So clarity आ गई उसको. That's exactly
what Bhishma. I'm thinking of Bhishma. What he knew all along, what he was and what but his duty. And there is a duty and there are things, what is beyond duty or where can he break the duty?
So here, I think they did a very good analysis in that the number 2 Mahabharata. It was like he was too attached to his vratas. See, because if you see in the battlefield, Krishna Bhagwan was ready to break his promise. I don't know, whoever knows महाभारत की story, when Arjuna was not, उन्होंने कहा था, उन्होंने व्रत लिया था मैं शस्त्र नहीं उठाऊंगा. फिर उन्होंने उठा लिया था शस्त्र. Because he picked up that wheel because he got very angry because Arjuna was not killing Bhishma due to attachment. He said, if you're not going to do it, I will do it. चाहे मुझे कितना भी बदनाम होना पड़े. मैं करने को तैयार हूँ because he's on the wrong side. He has to be killed to win the war. So he's showing us that for higher purpose, you can break your lower vows. Okay, but don't make it like a...
To God, do we leave it to the higher self? Do we decide at that point, you are at that stage, what do you do? I'm like, I wouldn't have a definite answer.
Because that's exactly why you have to go through the journey of Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasan, and the path will become clearer and clearer. Then you will see it as a black and white. You intuitively you will know what to do. We are not there yet. That's why we are still in Arjuna's state, confused. ये करूँ या वो करूँ, दोनों में merit भी दिखाई देता है, दोनों में problem भी दिखाई देता है, and 50-50 दिख रहा है. That's exactly what happened to Arjuna. Hey, I understand I'm a Kshatriya, I need to fight, but I also have I am going to kill and devastation is going to happen. Both are looking same to me. I don't know what to do. Then Krishna Bhagwan had to teach him that, hey, when you connect to the higher, the clarity will come. So we are not there yet, but with this journey, clarity will come. And if you look at yourself, maybe you will see some difference. Maybe all the issues we don't get clear, but certain issues we have become clear. What to do, what not to do.
Yeah, but things like that, and you wonder then, if I were in that position, what would I do? Will I still be confused? Not particularly that same situation, but in your own life, things happen, things come up.
Oh, they are meant to happen. They are meant to happen to wake us up. बोलते हैं ना कि अगर हम लोग को रियल टेस्ट होगा तो गुफा में बैठ के नहीं हो सकता है. When we are thrown in the world and all those the dilemmas come, that's when we really know what we are made up of. So I think we just have to have a patience and have faith, like what Anilji was
Yes.
saying, that if you go on this path, you will get clarity more and more and more. Intuition will become better and better. True. Yeah. Okay, so
Thank you.
yeah.
Umaji, I have a question. Oh, Prabhakar here.
Yeah, Prabhakar, Dr. Prabhakar, yes.
You talked about equanimous. Many times it is extremely difficult to be equanimous. You said that we need to practice equanimous. Any tips how to practice equanimous?
So he actually gave all the tips in 3, 4, and 5. 3 mein he gave a very, very strong tip about how to become equanimous. He says, start with rising above your likes and dislikes, he says.
Okay.
He's saying that we are all born with likes and dislikes because we cannot get rid of them, he said, because
Yes.
that's part of our nature. Because when we are
Right.
born, I like something, I don't like something. But I have to rise above it, then I'll be able to do my duty. Because see, with Arjuna, what happened, he was so good at the war. I mean, उनके महाभारत की पहले, he used to एक minute में he will win the war. Right? मगर ये वाला war आया, उसको अच्छा नहीं लगा ये war. Because उसके घर वाले इसमें थे, तो he started doing this. So he said, I don't like this war. No, hello, where duty don't come asking you. They just have fallen in your lap. Right? So that's why he's saying that when you do your duty, rising above your likes and dislikes, Krishna Bhagavan said, then you will train your mind to be equanimous. And then, success and failure, he said, be equanimous in it. And then usually this is what happens. When success comes, हम लोग attach हो जाते हैं उससे. And we want, it should be always be that. Stock market ka dekho. Everybody wants to buy at the lowest and sell at the high. How many people get that? You don't. So he's just saying that when he told the nature of this self is eternal, unchanging, but the matter is always changing.
Yes.
So that's why success and failure is a part of the same coin. It's going to happen to you. Be equanimous in it by knowing the higher self. That's what he told in chapter 2 and 3.
Okay.
So all the tips are given. And he also said that likes and dislikes are like roadside robbers. They will pounce on you. When you are, you are suddenly like very goody, and then some likes and dislike will come and bother you so much, and you will lose your equanimity. So that's why. And then he also explained that likes and dislike reside in your senses, in your mind, and in your intellect. If they go deeper and deeper, then it has become bigger problem. Like enemies hiding deeper and deeper in you. So all those tips are given. That's why we have to read the Bhagavad Gita many times, Dr. Prabhakar, to remember these things.
Yes.
Yeah. So those are the
Thank you.
tips. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so what we can do is we can do the same thing. I'll go through the verse, next one, and then reading maybe we can do the next time so we have some idea. So here is a verse 10. Yada panchavatiष्ठन्ते ज्ञानानि मनसा सह बुद्धिश्च न विचेष्यति tamahu paramam gatim. Yada, when. So now this verse is going to tell us that what is that final stage of meditation. How do I know that I've reached? It's giving you a tip. Yada is when, pancha is the 5, avatishtante are at rest. So you're talking about 5 sense organs. Jnanani, organs of knowledge. That's what, seeing, hearing, tasting, all that. Manasa saha, together with the mind. The mind also should be at rest. Buddhi, the intellect also has to be at rest. Cha, and na vicheshtati, ceases functioning. Means sab आराम कर रहे हैं वो टाइम पे, कोई भी काम नहीं कर रहा है, all these things, complete rest. Tam, that. Ahuhu, they call. They means actually Shastras and the wise people they is referring to. Paramam, the highest. gatim state. That is the highest state. Means, when everything is that, when you are in that meditation and all of it becomes restful, then you will see, the intuition will rise and you will know. That's basically, if you combine the two Bhagavad Gita in here, this is the answer. So what is he talking about here? So he's saying that main thing is Mahatma Tattva cannot be seen by senses. That's one of the aspects of this verse, and we saw that in the previous verse that through the methods of Shravana, Manan and Nididhyasan, it is possible because we cannot see. And in this mantra, meditation stage, final stage is pointed out. That's what it is. So what Tejomayananji was saying, that in spite of being told again and again that we are that Chaitanya Atma, we still identify with mind. Because adat se lachar, the identification is so strong. And then this is what he was saying. He explained what he means. So he's saying that meditation means absorbing your mind in that Atma, correct? That's what the main idea is. So he's saying that sometimes, the mind does get absorbed and then you become peaceful for a while, and sometimes it does not. Because remember that one of the Swamini said that this is a practice that guaranteed failure in the beginning. So, and then after that, when you become very good at it also, some days you may not be able to do it because of whatever reason. So he's saying that people will say, we forget that जिस आत्मा के ऊपर हम लोग meditate कर रहे हैं ना, वो उसका nature ही एकदम, it's always the same. There is no good and bad in it, right? But we immediately say, but we struggle with this meditation also. We will say, oh, आज अच्छा हुआ, आज अच्छा नहीं हुआ. See what I'm saying? फिर mind वहीं जाता है. So that's the one problem he was talking about. And then he was saying that how there are two aspects to the meditation. One is withdrawing our attention, from the world, from worldly objects. So what does worldly object mean? That includes senses, mind and intellect, everything. You're withdrawing. And the second aspect is turning that attention to the self. And this process is called meditation. So withdrawing from the world and absorbing in the self. So then he was saying that how in Kathoupanishad earlier they gave us a tip how to withdraw. That, we see firstly we need to know what is senses, mind, intellect, Mahanatma or total intellect, Avyakta and Purusha. After we learning that, so you withdraw. One of the verses said, withdraw the speech in the mind. All this chatter of the mind. And then mind in the intellect in the total intellect. And then you become more peaceful. That is one aspect of it, okay? And then in this mantra 10, it is telling you that what happens when the mind is completely absorbed. Whether you get this final result or not, this is the indicator of it. So it starts with the yada. Ye tab hoga jab. Okay, that's what yada means. Whenever this happens, that means it. So what are they talking about? What happens when your five senses becomes quiet? So basically what Tejomayananji was saying, that some people will ask, how many days will it take to realize the Atma through meditation? I mean, Nikhilananji was joking. He said, don't ask how many lifetimes. So it's not like it's going to happen. Yes, it can happen in one, but there's no guarantee. But so he was saying, Tejomayananji was saying that meditation is not like doing some course or some degree course or something ki, oh, ye kar lo to degree mil jayegi. Aisa nahi hai. Jab aisa hoga, that means you have reached. So kya hoga? When all your five indriyans are avatishtate, matlab standing still. Koi halchal nahi ho rahi hai usme. Okay? Along with the mind. So mind mein bhi koi halchal nahi ho rahi hai. Buddhi also. Buddhista vicheshtati, it says. Buddhi also does not act, become still. Senses, mind and buddhi. Then these people, the spiritual masters of the scriptures, say that this state is called Param Gati, highest state. So इसको ना, he's saying that generally people call it samadhi or nirvikalp samadhi बोलते हैं इसको. When your buddhi becomes totally like at rest in the self. No duality is there over there. This state, the stillness of mind, intellect and all that, this is that highest state. Supreme state of being your own self. That's when, you merge with the Brahman. That's another way of you're saying that the river has become the ocean. Okay? I mean, you have given up your identity. You know what I found out? That when they ये त्रिवेणी वगैरह बोलते हैं ना, जहाँ 2-3 नदियाँ मिलती हैं, तो उसको बहुत पवित्र माना जाता है, राइट, उस जगह को. Why? Because they lose the identity and, the गंगा में मिल जाती हैं वो. That's why they say it. And गंगा सागर, जहाँ पर गंगा मिलती है, उसको भी बहुत बड़ा तीर्थ स्थान माना गया है, because it's a symbolic of losing your identity. That's what that all those sangams are always because they lose the identity. So he's saying that
it's like you're meeting the source. So the river is going to the source, that is the sea, and same way like we are also going to our source, that is the God.
Correct.
Then we lose identity. Yeah.
So the ultimate is a Ganga Sagar, but even other places are considered Tirth Sthan because it's a step. Like those small streams are becoming, 3 nadiyan ek ho gayi, to fir wo Ganga hi kehlati hai. Like that, So the other two have lost their identity in there. So losing the identity with the lower thing is considered, whatever you're saying, Sneha, true. So what Tejomayananji was saying, remember now, don't forget, actually you are always yourself only. You cannot be anything else, right? You are H2O only, but you are identifying, unfortunately. That's our problem with this or that, and then we feel that we are not. So all that, whatever we have learned, we have to bring it back over here. It's not like we are getting anything new. It's, if you think about it, even in the Sangam and all that, wo Sagar bhi H2O, ye bhi H2O hai. Magar abhi he just lost his identity as Ganga and now has become the ocean. Or the, whichever Nadi goes to, the other Nadis go to the ocean. So, and because the source of Ganga is the ocean only, think about it. Because वो पानी वहीं से क्या बोलते हैं, सोख के ऊपर जाता है, बादल बन जाता है, then it goes over there and all that. It's gone back to its source. So he's saying that when we see or whatever, that mind and senses and intellect has become still, what does that actually mean? So he's saying it means that the sense organs are not perceiving any worldly objects. Okay? And mind has become quiet. What does it mean? It's not doing any sankalpa, vikalpa, wishing this, wishing that, thinking about many other, it's not doing any of that. And intellect is not deciding and judging anything. It's which is its actual job. It's quit its job right now. That's what it means. So he's saying that when it comes to identification, this is what we identify: body, mind, intellect, all that becomes quiet. And then we are not doing anything with these things. That's why it's called Param Gati. So then some people might get a little bit confused in a sense. They might start comparing this to a sleep, he said. Because we saw the Mandukya Upanishad that there are 3 states, waking, dream, and deep sleep. So they might start comparing this to a deep sleep. And many times we do, for example, right? That to go in a deep sleep, because there all these 3 things are not functioning. Senses fold. Mind is active in dream state, but mind folds also in deep sleep, right? So your senses and intellect is also not working there. Everything is folded. So he's saying that some people might miss, this is like sleep. So he's saying doesn't mean कि मैं सोते रहूं और मैं समाधि में हूं. So he's telling the difference. He's saying that sleep just happens to us. जब बहुत जोर से नींद आ रही होती है ना, कहीं भी इंसान सो जाएगा. So it just overpowers us. It's like helplessly the tamas overpowers us. There's a function of just our body that we need that sleep. Inertia you go into darkness and ignorance, according to him. And he's saying that whenever you sleep aati hai na, you become flat. Unless you are in a economy class in the plane and you have to sleep sitting up, torturous. But otherwise, anybody who wants sleep becomes flat. So he's saying that we are not consciously withdrawing anything in the sleep. It just happens to us. So that's why, even though we give an example, because those three things are not functioning, it's not identical. But this is without going to sleep, my mind and intellect have become still. That's called Param Gati. So it's a similar state in certain things, but you are still awake. So how that is done? So he's saying that now he's just going back to the basics, because again that question, okay, how do I do this? Hey, just find a quiet place, quiet time, so the outer disturbances are minimum. All the things that Krishna Bhagavan said in chapter 6. Okay, Shuchi, Deshe, Vivaktis, whatever. Close your eyes because you don't want to see anything and you're not touching anything. So you're the touch senses, and then that hearing and tasting also you're not eating any food. Only problem is hearing and hearing is the main thing, right? And smelling. Two things we can't shut because we have to breathe, unfortunately, and we can't close our nose. And कान में रुई डाल सकता है कोई, I don't know, मगर फिर भी सुनाई देगा, वो big bomb फटेगा तो we'll hear. So he's saying, but what the meditator needs to do is not react. 3 चीजें तो बंद कर दी और ये 2 चीजों में उसको भी still हो सकता है कि you learn not to react, not get disturbed by the sense perception, and then another problem is memories can come. सारे इंद्रियाज पर some hidden, not hidden, suppressed memories or something will start bothering you, and then buddhi can also start becoming active कि भाई future का बारे में सोचना शुरू कर देंगे, or regrets of the past. Some mental disturbance can come. You have to be alert. That's why Krishna Bhagavan said practice. If the mind bhatak raha hai, वापस लेके आओ. Remember? Dispassion. How do you practice? You also learn dispassion. Then it will drop it. So be alert. Let the mind get not disturbed by any perception or past memories. And then you will know yourself as you are. Why? Because there is no other awareness of anything else. It's just, aware of awareness itself. So this is what this mantra is talking about. And the next one, according to Tejo Mayananji, when we do the next one, the both will complete this what this final stage of meditation is. So we will read next time, since the time is kind of up, but we have a minute or so if somebody has any comment or question or want to add anything to this meditation process. So I think that between Bhagavad Gita and this, lots of tips are given and clarity that what it is. Because we were talking about how much confusion is there out there, what exactly meditation is, what we need to do, So all the practices, what part of meditation it fits in and all. Now we should have a much clearer picture and what the goal is and signs of it. That, hey, I'm getting somewhere. I think one of the main signs is when I can sit longer and longer without getting disturbed. Then I know that I'm progressing a little bit.
Jivan Mukta, he lives 2 sort of lives. His body consciousness is still there, right? For the transactional life. And he's already attained the purpose of life as well.
That's why he uses his energy, the entire energy for Lok Kalyan, Lok Sangraha, they call it, the word in Bhagavad Gita. That's why he doesn't care about himself.
Right.
Yeah.
And things could come like cancer, etc.
All the time.
And, all those.
In fact, most of the saints and sages, their health was not that great, but they didn't care.
Right. Yeah.
And there are many theories about it. Some people think that they take on other people's health issues when they go to them and all that. And their own karmas also play a role. And I mean, Ramana Maharishi had
That's
cancer.
what, yeah.
Ramakrishna Paramhans did.
Yes.
Our Gurudev, he had a heart issue,
Yes.
you
Yeah.
know, so and all that. But till the end, he was still doing Bhagavad Gita courses. And so
Oh, I attended the last one.
amazing.
I
Really?
did attend the last one in 93. It was the last one he did. And I attended. And then he flew to San Diego the next morning.
Amazing.
And
I didn't know
wasn't-
that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then he flew. And that's where
Yeah.
he didn't get out. I mean, from the airport straight to the hospital, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
So many,
So-
yeah, true. So for them, they are dancing to a different tune. And other people, like Vivekanand ji, he left the body, mortal body, so young.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't think he even hit 40, right? I'm not exactly sure.
38.
38, imagine. Shankaracharya was 32.
Tours.
And even Yoganand ji, 54. आजकल तो 54 को तो यंग माना जाता है, खास करके रिलेटिव है. हम लोग सब अभी वृद्ध हो गए तो हम लोग को लगता है 54. कोई बोलता है मैं 50 हो तो वो तो बच्चा है. My nephew the other say that Masi, I am 50. I say, you're so young. He's saying, no, look at my hair, I'm not young. But 54 में तो सब करके चले भी गए वो लोग.
Yes.
And then one reason is, I think, because of their good karmas, they did not have to suffer through the old age.
I mean, you can look at it whatever way, but even when they were going through these things, like physical thing, I think Sarvapriyanand ji बहुत अच्छे से explain करते हैं. He said because he meets so many other वृद्ध स्वामीज who are going through. So he's saying that एक कोई बहुत वृद्ध था, उसको बहुत physical problem tha, right? But mentally he was so together, mental balance and all that. He's saying, so how are you doing something? Somebody asked. He's saying, if you ask about my body, I have this pain, that pain, just like us, everything. And he's saying, but mentally I'm feeling very happy and relaxed. We have a hard time because they don't identify with the body. So they look at it, hey, body mein ho raha hai, which is a dharma of body anyway. There are the 6 dharmas of body that mentioned in the Vedanta, that, old age and disease is part of it. These are the swamis who live for longer. So we're saying, but, उनके चेहरे पे कुछ अलग ही चमक होती है because, पर हम लोग इतना आइडेंटिफाई करते हैं बॉडी से कि मेरी कमर दुख रही है तो बस I can't do anything and all that. But I have seen, our own Darshana Ben, she went through so many health challenges and we never saw her complain even once. Whenever she could come, she would come and do her things. I've personally seen it, that, somebody who lives these values in their life, that how equanimous they are. So, true. Okay, since it's time, so I'm going to close. And we can still, 10-15 minutes, somebody has anything can share. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramaya, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kashchit Dukha Bhag Bhavet. Hari Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om.